The job description in the post appeared like it would be too good to be true to Scott Davis. A consistent $300 per week, plus housing for keeping an eye on a remote farm in southeast Ohio. It was the job of a lifetime. When Davis, 48, read the ad on Craigslist in 2011, he was searching for a fresh start after just splitting up with his fiancée. Davis could hardly contain his joy when he received a call informing him that he was one of the job finalists because the advertisement stated that over 100 people had responded to the job offering. Now all he needed to do was visit his employer and tour the farm. Following one last interview in a nearby eatery, Davis got into the back of a white Buick while his new boss, a large man named Jack, slid into the front seat. Jack identified the driver as his nephew, a large teenage boy. The path led them further and further from civilization as they traveled. The Buick came to a stop on a remote section of the dirt road not long after. They were quickly encircled by deep forest. Davis jumped out to assist them in carrying the equipment up to the car after hearing from Jack that they had left some of the equipment just down the hill. Jack led the route, but they became lost in the dense undergrowth, and Davis found himself walking in front of Jack and the young man. A gunhammer's click was audible to Davis. His elbow was broken by a gunshot as he turned toward the sound. He fell down into the forest. Jack fired round after round at his back while cursing at him. Davis spent the following hours being stalked through the woods like a prey animal with blood soaking his right side, never knowing if Jack or his silent collaborator would be around the next corner. Davis eventually made it to a rural home after sundown and begged the residents to call the police. The awful truth of the circumstances emerged over the course of the following few days. Richard Beasley posed as Jack in order to lure him into the woods where he would be killed. The 16-year-old Brogan Rafferty was his nephew, and the two had already slain 3 guys and dumped their remains in the woods in little graves. Beasley received a death sentence in 2013, while Brogan Rafferty received a life term. Prior to the start of her theater career, Katherine Anne, a recent graduate of Minnesota's St. Olaf College, was working part-time as a nanny. She was 24 years old. Michael John Anderson was curious about what it was like to murder someone, and he was 19. In 2007, Anderson, posing as a mother, placed a Craigslist ad searching for someone to watch a child the next day. Olsen seized the chance and answered the ad, and plans were made for her to be at the house at around 10 a.m. to begin the job. Olsen admitted to her roommate that she got a strange feeling about the job, but chose to go ahead with it nonetheless. She had no chance of knowing what was going to happen. Anderson welcomed Olsen when she got to the house, dilapidated, split level in Savage, Minnesota, and showed her to his bedroom on the 2nd floor. Olsen attempted to flee, but nobody is certain of what exactly took place next. Anderson used a .357 Magnum to shoot her in the back, pull her body down the steps, and put her body in the trunk of his car. He left the car unattended a few blocks away. Anderson then smashed Olsen's phone, wrapped it in a bloody towel, and dropped it into a garbage can in an effort to destroy the evidence. He did not appear to be aware that the towel had his name on it in black marker. Anderson received a life sentence without the possibility of parole in 2009. Miranda Barbour claims that she committed her first homicide at the age of 13 in a gangland-style execution in a shadowy Anchorage, Alaska alley. She shot the man because he had not paid a debt, so acting on the orders of the head of a satanic sect. So when the court ordered Miranda to move in with her uncle in North Carolina, she was already hooked on heroin and was quickly rising through the ranks of the cult. She first met Elliot Barbour at that time, and they later got married. They both agreed that they intended to murder someone. They hoped it would improve their relationship. Miranda Barbour, then 18 years old, advertised on Craigslist that she was looking for males who hated their wives. She quickly received a response from Troy LaFera, a 42-year-old man, and they quickly decided to meet on the evening of November 11th. Miranda waited in the front of the car for Troy as her husband hid in the rear seat under a blanket. They had planned a signal. Elliot was instructed to run out and hold the man down whenever Miranda spoke the words, "Did you see the stars tonight?" That is precisely what they did. Troy was stabbed more than 20 times by Miranda after Elliot strangled him with a cord. After washing the car and going out to dinner to celebrate, they discarded the body in an alley. The following day, both of them were taken into custody, and Miranda confessed to killing 22 people across several states while she was incarcerated. However, nobody believes her. Michelle Wilkins was beaming with happiness on March 18, 2015, when she made the short drive to Dynell Lane's residence across town. She was 34 weeks pregnant with a healthy little girl, and she had recently discovered a cheap collection of maternity garments on Craigslist that were ideal for hiding her ever-expanding baby bump. All she had to do was pick them up. When she got to Lane's house, Lane took her inside and they had a conversation for about an hour. After Lane led Wilkins into the cellar to retrieve the garments, the enjoyable afternoon turned into a horror movie. Without warning, Dynell Lane threw Wilkins onto a bed, smashed a lava lamp over her head, and then sliced Wilkins' throat with a piece of the light's shattered glass. Her hands moved to Wilkins' throat, but there was already too much blood for her to maintain a firm grip, so she covered her face with a pillow. Wilkins tried one more desperate cry for mercy as she was losing consciousness and was scared for her life and the life she carried inside of her. "I love you," she murmured. In response, Lane said, "If you love me, you'll let me do this." Lane then reached for a kitchen knife. She then cut the girl out of Wilkins' womb and left the mother to bleed to death. Wilkins somehow maintained consciousness long enough to call 911, and she was taken immediately to the closest hospital for surgery. And just down the hall in the same hospital, a mother in the maternity ward sadly held the stillborn infant to her breast while announcing to nurses that she had miscarried. The truth only came to light afterwards. For the charges, Dynell Lane may spend 48 years in jail. In 2003, John Williams was looking for housing, and Brian Boucher was looking for a roommate to help with the rent. It was a match similar to the countless others that occur on Craigslist every day, and for a while it appeared as though it would be successful. Up until Williams starting to act suspiciously, that is. Boucher hoped that giving his new roommate the apartment's lone bedroom would persuade him to stay by offering it as a perk. It was just what Williams was looking for, because Williams had a secret. Williams, according to Boucher, kept to himself a lot. Boucher would believe he was alone in the apartment for hours, then see Williams abruptly leave his room while keeping his head down, complete whatever he was doing, and then return to the bedroom's darkness with nothing more than a gentle click of the door's lock to bid him farewell. Boucher began to get worried. After 10 months of living together, Williams started to leave the apartment for extended stretches of time, and during one of these absences, Boucher had had enough. Intent on packing up Williams' belongings and sending him on his way, he forced his way into the locked bedroom. Williams had sifted through his trash and gathered bits of credit card solicitations that Boucher had received in the mail. When he saw a large manila envelope on the bed, it made his blood run cold. A sheet of notebook paper with Boucher's family members' names and addresses, as well as ominous personal information like the day his parents were married, was found with the shreds of mail. The passwords to numerous websites Boucher used were written on another piece of paper, along with his credit card details. It resembled an odd file in Boucher's personal life. Then Boucher discovered a diary, where he read the following disturbing passage at the end of one of the entries. "I'm only now just starting to get over being afraid every time someone looks at me, twice in the street, every time a cop looks at me, thinking they know." The only thing Boucher needed to do to discover his roommate was conduct a fast Google search for his name. Williams, real name Dino Lawrence Smith, had committed an elaborate jewel robbery in San Francisco months previously, making off with $10 million in diamonds. Williams was already in custody, according to a call to the police. Although Boucher never learned why he had been gathering his personal information, he is aware that things could have gone far worse.